Yesterday, I made the mention of dashes versus dots, and I thought it was very common, but this is me again, lily padding over ideas. So let's go back and close the loop. On Instagram stories, when you post a story, one story, on the top of the page, on the top of your phone, on the story, it will appear as one singular line. When you post 2 stories, you then get 2 lines. When you post 3 stories, then it turns into dash, dash, dash. And the more stories you add, the more lines, dashes that appear. But then all of a sudden you add so many stories that those dashes turn into tiny little dots. That's what we're referring to. So if you have dots at the top of your Instagram stories and you notice that people aren't watching, that means that you're posting a little too much. Now, that is just a general overall idea. If you have a ton of dots and you have a lot of people watching from beginning to end, keep on doing what you're doing because it's working. Generally speaking, having a ton of dots means you're going to have a higher drop-off rate, which inadvertently will affect how your stories are presented when somebody logs in to Instagram. So is that cool? Are we good there? Okay. A question that came from an anonymous person. How do you know what your client follows and does if they are not yourself? I don't know what is popular for other people on social media, shows they follow. Any ideas how to figure that out? And the reason I brought this question up is because I was asked the same question, of course, off camera. That's changing today, okay? I refuse to answer any questions if they ain't on camera. I was asked the same question. It's like, how do you know somebody who isn't of you? And I felt like I could strongly answer this question because I had to go through the same thing. I had started off as a wedding photographer, and I just basically started serving people of my own means. And over 2 years, I wanted to move into a luxury market. I am not luxury. I do not come from money. I do not understand that culture. So what I decided to do was to follow people who lived that life. And social media gave us and gives us the opportunity to creep on people. So I started following really wealthy girls. And then I was able to see where they went on vacation and how they spent their summers. I never knew what Christian Louboutin was. I never knew that a bag is called Hermes. No idea, right? I didn't know a lot of the inner workings of upper class or society people. But funny enough, they put their stuff out on the internet. And I learned what are the cool places to be vacationing. And I learned how they spend their time. I quickly understood the differences between an Oreo Range Rover. Didn't know they existed, right? It's a white Range Rover with a black top. You pay extra for that black top. See? That's what I'm saying. If you don't know, now you know. So you will start screaming. Did anybody get that shout out? Anybody? Biggie Smalls? Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So you have to follow people so that their behaviors teach you, and then you can make references. So when I started walking into rooms and I noticed, true story, 6 pairs of Louboutins bought for a singular wedding day, I was like, oh, this is the fall collection. I love how they did this custom thing. You show up and you act like you know because you just learned it, not because you own it or could afford it. So how do you start building it out? You start finding people and they will teach you. One more question from Yulia. If I understand it right, Jasmine didn't switch her Instagram to a business Instagram account. Why so? I'm a photographer and I have a personal account as well, but I hear it is better to switch to business, but I'm not sure. Could Jasmine please talk about this? We saw this question a lot come up, so I want to make sure that I am addressing it here and now. Number 1, I reserve the right to change my mind in an hour, tomorrow or next week. As of right now, I have a personal Instagram account, and I have never switched over to a business account. And I'm going to explain my reasons why. When Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook bought Instagram, I knew the writing was on the wall, that Facebook was going to turn Instagram into Facebook. And we've already been through this. We've already seen our Facebook pages take a dip in organic reach, and in order to get seen, you have to pay to play. So I just saw it, I was like, well, I'm not gonna play that game. I'm not gonna get on the same carousel and expect a different outcome. However, over the years, they've been incentivizing business owners to switch to a business account because they couldn't pull out the rug from people, right? Like the platform had hundreds of millions of people before it got acquired, and they did not even have the option for a business or a personal account. So what Instagram is now trying to do is incentivize business owners to switch over. How do they do that? The number one incentivization is the swipe up feature. Everybody wants that swipe up feature. But here's the weird thing about it, is that you only get the swipe up feature if you have 10,000 followers. So if you have 3,000 followers, you can't even use the swipe up feature. Now they also have other features like in-depth analytics, but if you ain't looking at your analytics, what does that matter to you? You have robust ad sets and back-end components, but I realized I can get the exact same features running ads to Instagram from Facebook. They also have like the contact the business owner. They also have like leave reviews, get directions. But for a digital business like my own, that doesn't matter. So for all intents and purposes, I want the swipe up feature, but not at the proposed, not concrete, not at the proposed risk of losing organic reach. Is Instagram there yet? No, they're still like, I have seen slight differences between business and personal, but do I think that in a year it will be wildly different? Absolutely. I totally absolutely think that. So I'm just saying I'm not putting up a swipe up feature because my business isn't driven that way. However, and I'm saying this now, I really want to start a podcast, and that would change the scope of my business. If I started a podcast, it might make sense to give up organic reach so that I get the swipe up feature to produce a weekly podcast if it moves traffic. Now, so this case entirely, we had a vanity URL for this class, and so it would make so much more sense for me to have a swipe up feature to say, go and save your seat for the social media boot camp. That would make a lot of sense. But it wouldn't get seen as much, I don't think, in a year. So what do I say? If you want a direct link, I said, here's a direct link, knowing good and well, someone's not gonna memorize it and then open up Chrome or Safari and then dial it in. But what I will say is, send me a DM and I'll send you a direct link. So what am I doing? Driving personal engagement, building a personal relationship, giving them a droppable link. And then the people who DM me for a link are far more serious about coming to a class and attending a class because they're taking an action that's different than a simple swipe up. Now, that is where I'm at right now. Next week, if I launch a podcast, I probably will change. You might have a business that's highly driven on episodic releases, podcast, promotions, maybe you do a lot of affiliates. If then that's the case, the swipe up feature and a business account makes total sense for your business. For my business and where it was, and I do quarterly or like launches 3 times a year, I'm okay giving up the swipe up for more organic reach. So that's where I'm at right now. Okay, so now we're gonna get officially started with day 2. And I'm just gonna say this so that it's on camera. I don't know why, but my eye keeps on watering. I'm not crying. I just didn't sleep well last night, and I just keep on weeping for all the sleep I didn't get. Okay, so let's talk about what happened yesterday. Yesterday, we created a dream customer profile. We know who we're marketing to. We outlined the type of content they wanted to see. We started understanding the psychology of why they are following our accounts. We also unveiled what it looks like to be on the inside of a promotional shoot, a branded shoot, and talked about producing imagery that we think our one singular dream customer wants to see. And we kept on referring to this person as the nucleus. And we finally got to a point where we could say we're okay marketing to one person, understanding that a group around those people will still be marketed to as well. So today is a big promise. Today we're going to be showing how our business owners planned a month of content in one day, and that is just the tip of the iceberg because there's a lot of other stuff we're gonna be doing today. We're gonna be talking about getting attention-grabbing Instagram feeds. We're gonna be revealing the photo shoot. So, right, we showed you behind the scenes. Now we're gonna show how it comes together from a business perspective. We're gonna talk about how we write captions that convert. How do we get people talking back to us? Choosing the best hashtags for your business, and how to revive your Facebook page. Because y'all, I'm still rocking Facebook, and I think it is absolutely powerful, and I'm gonna present a case for you. I'm a very proud law school dropout, but let me present a case, okay? Let me just lay it out for you why it's popping over on Facebook. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we are going to talk about the secret to growing on Instagram. Because people kept on asking a very common question again and again yesterday. Even though I said it at least 8 times, I was like, y'all, we're doing the hard work right now. This is the heavy lifting. This isn't the fun stuff, but we're laying the framework. And people kept on calling, yes, but how do you get more followers? Okay. One dream customer. Okay. I get it. Branding shoot. Okay, but how do we get more followers? So I think, okay, so let's just start here today. Let's just clear out all the smoke and make it very, very, very clear. Is that there's this temptation that we as humans set up as a totem pole of success. We look at other people in our industries, other people in our field, and we say, that person is doing a really great job because of this. And we also, on the other end, say, well, I'm doing a little bit of a better job than that person. Like, bless his heart, he just doesn't really get it. Okay. We create totem poles. It's what we do as humans. And if we can acknowledge that we have that temptation to do that, we also understand that we do the same thing on Instagram. That we look at other accounts with a lot of followers and say, gee, they just really get it. We see other accounts that have not one, but two, but three, four viral videos, and you're like, why can't I do that? When they go on Instagram stories and they're like, oh, my registration for my $10,000 course is 90% full and it happened overnight. Are you gonna save the last seat? And you're like, how did you do that? I can't even get somebody to buy my $9.99 product. So we create these totem poles in real life and we create them on Instagram. But today, I want today to be different. I want us to take this totem pole that we put up of people and I want it to lay it on our side and I want to create a circle from it. So that when we look at the circle, we look across the circle and say, what can I do for you? And I look to the side and say, what can we do for each other? How can we change what we're doing on Instagram? Because I believe that we do better together. And I don't mean this in like an after-school Hallmark Christmas special way. I really just think statistically, a group of people survive. If ever the apocalypse were to happen in Seattle, stick with people. Don't go out and do it on your own. Instagram rules, the same thing. So, now that we are all here on the same page, understanding what we can do together and understanding that we're stronger, I'm going to share the secrets to how I've grown on Instagram. And they are very, very juicy and very tempting. And I'm just building it up one by one. Are you guys on bated breath? And the secret to growing on Instagram is to stop growing. Now, this is where people are just like, skirt, you're crazy. I came here to learn how to grow on Instagram. And your question probably to me is, Jasmine, why should I stop growing on Instagram? That makes no sense. This is how businesses are running. And then my next question back to you would be, do you have customers coming from Instagram right now? And by and large, the answer is no. And there's this temptation to think that if we got more followers, it would solve our monetization issues or lack thereof on Instagram. It is so easy to think, well, if I had more followers, well, then I would have more customers. If you don't have customers now on the followers you have, getting more followers won't get you more customers. We have to fix this system far before we ever grow the system, wanting something from the people who follow us. So then the question then becomes, okay, Jasmine, I don't need more followers. How do I turn my followers into customers? Okay, I've had this conversation plenty of times. Now, if you don't know how to create customers on Instagram, then growing your followers is not the answer. So let's recalibrate there. All the questions yesterday, we're putting it to a pause. So then people say, well, then how do I grow my business on Instagram? Now we're talking. Now you and I can have a real grown-up conversation of what we're gonna do. And my advice, first and foremost, starts with go deep, not wide. Focus on a small group of people and talk to them in such a specific way that they believe that their lives cannot be the same without getting your clothing, without getting your henna designs, without getting your website designs, without getting your home designs, without getting their photos taken. We have to create this longing for the thing that it is that you do, and we only get that when we go deep. When we talk to people and when we understand a one-to-one connection is powerful. We need to understand them. And we need to know that if you are a fitness professional, people aren't following you just because they want to lose weight. People aren't following you just for the next workout. When we understand why people follow us, it changes the game. Because if we can talk to not the last 5 pounds of stubborn belly fat, but when we can talk to you are good enough whatever shape you are, let's get healthy. When you understand your people and you think she is struggling because she's not loved by her husband, because she doesn't look the way that she does anymore. When you can talk to your person and say, it is okay to forgive yourself after having a donut, now get back on the train and do your thing. That's what happens when you understand people instead of trying to sell your fitness plans or your workout routines or your meal planning. And then we need to talk to them. And we need to talk to them like legitimately you are sitting next to somebody at a wedding reception. You know how sometimes you get seated at those circular tables and you're like, oh, you quickly do a scan over, you're like, all right, okay, I don't know who I'm sitting with. I'll make some small talk. That's Instagram. The same conversations that you would be sitting at a group of random strangers at a wedding. You gotta be pleasant, you gotta be friendly, you gotta make small talk. That is exactly what happens. The same conversations is exactly what I want you to do. What do you do? How do you spend your weekends? You have any kids? Amazing. All that stuff, that comes far before you ever sell something or turn somebody into a customer on Instagram. And then, once you go deep with them, and once you know them, and once you talk to them, then and only then can you help them. Because it's only by talking to people will you get a deep understanding of what they really need. Because you know that if you are offering a fitness routine, they don't need to lose the 5 pounds. The 5 pounds is not gonna change them. We know that. What really needs to get changed? We don't know yet until you talk to them. We don't know why somebody won't allow themselves to hire a home interior designer. We don't know why somebody won't just randomly, out of no reason, for no celebration, hire a henna artist, just because it's Friday. We don't know those things until we talk to them and then we learn how to serve them. So if we aren't connected to our customers in a real deep way, articulating their pressure points in a way that resonates with them, our efforts are stuck. That's just the truth. So if your efforts are stuck, let's reverse the sentence. If your efforts are stuck, it's probably because you haven't articulated their pressure points and you're not connected to your customers in a real deep way. So if now you say, okay, I'm ready to do that, then we go back to where we started on day one. Y'all, that will be the foundation of where we go. I'm gonna come back to this again and again and again. When you make your followers feel known, seen, and heard, your business becomes the only option for them. So now let's get into some real talk, because I'm starting day 2 with like a shotgun. I mean, we're just, not even a shotgun, it's like a sniper. I'm gonna go straight to the core of the issue, right? Like, no BS, let's talk some real talk, because you know this ain't about Instagram. What is stopping us from going deep with our audience? What? What?
Just being lazy, just not.
Lazy.
Like, it takes a lot of time to go figure out what everything.
It takes a lot of time to figure out what people want. Okay, let's see, based on the conversations that I've seen, because I don't go into like the social curator Facebook group and be like, what stops us from going deep? I'm not gonna get any answers. What do? I watch and I read and I watch and I read and I find the patterns. If one of my power plays is I could see patterns. And when you can see patterns, you start creating answers and solutions to the commonly asked patterns. So what I've seen, based on my experience, is what stops us from going deep? Vanity metrics. We want numbers because numbers make us feel important. Numbers make us feel valid. Numbers make us feel professional. People will say, well, Jasmine, so a couple months ago, I had put out a video on how to clean your Instagram account from fake followers, ghosts, and bots. And I talked an easy way to make this happen. Now, some people got behind it real quick because they're, Jasmine, like the bots are affecting my engagement. I want to make sure and I want to get this handled. And I say, great. And then I started getting DMs like, Jasmine, I had 458 people. This is a legit DM. I had 458 followers. And after I cleaned up my account, I went down to around 200. And she's like, at first it hurt my ego, but the thing that I noticed is my engagement is now through the roof. That was one person. And then another person said, I started to go through and I realized that I was losing too many people and I didn't want other people to see how many people I lost. The question then becomes to you, what kind of business owner do you want to be? The person who's going to have a small group of people and a lot of engagement and serve them well? Or the person who's so dang concerned about the numbers on the internet and what it really means about their business? I have to tell you that in the world of Instagram influencing, the people who have millions of followers, on average, are getting a penny per post, per follower. Example, you have 200,000 followers on Instagram, the average going rate is $2,000 a post. You ain't breaking the bank doing Instagram influencing. in the way that it's currently done. Are there influencers who are having a very lucrative career and they're doing it well and they're doing their own products? Yes. By and large, the vast majority of influencers are not making a career out of it. So here we are so concerned with all these other people who have a lot of followers because you think, oh, they're making a lot of money, and the fact of the matter is, statistically, they're not. So the question then becomes to you, are you okay having a small amount of followers and running a profitable business? Because I know that photos matter on Instagram. And I also know that captions matter on Instagram. We've gone through that, and we will continue to go through that. But what we really, really need to hone in is that engagement matters most. So if you have a lot of followers and they're not talking back to you, you literally have a very cold fish in a very big pond. So I will come out and say this again and again, is that your Instagram post will be seen more by 1,000 active followers than 10,000 passive viewers. This is real talk. You want to grow a business on Instagram? Let's have a conversation. You want to be popular on Instagram so like your friends can brag about how much they want you to tag them? I'm just not the person for you. So if we can get there, we can finally get to the point by saying, okay, how does growth actually happen? Growth actually happens by engagement. So if we want engagement, we serve a small group of people so that they can talk back to us, and then all of a sudden their friends who aren't following your account start seeing the activity on that account by way of the algorithm, by way of the Explore tab, and that is how you get followers to look at your account, real people, and say, I think I like what this person is doing. The second reason we don't go deep is because we're afraid of looking irrelevant. We're afraid of what people are going to say as a result of us trying something new. Us putting out content that may or may not resonate with people. But this is the truth of the matter, real talk. Your objective should only to be, it is a typo, and I own it. I love it. If you've ever followed me on Instagram, y'all know like typos galore. I'm just on my phone. Like I usually am writing stuff like sometimes on the go, like yesterday during lunch, I did a post for our day one. So many typos. And he said, you want to know what? Bless and be. Bless and release. It's okay. You guys get it, right? Okay. Your objective should only be to be relevant to a small group of people who are willing to invest in your business. If you are using your Instagram for business, your only objective is to be highly relevant to a small group of people who will grow your business. That's just real talk. Because here's what happens, is people who invest in your business, they become evangelists. It's just natural. How many times have you guys gone to a great restaurant and then went and told friends about it? Like the food was great, the prices were awesome. Sometimes women, you'll find a good manicurist and you're like, man, this person's so legit. You tell your friends about it. When other people co-sign on your amazingness, you don't have to do any talking. So when people follow you, you get organic trust. You get organic growth because they trust you. Their friends already talked about you. They come to you and they're like, hey, I really like what this person's doing. I like it. I understand them. The third reason we don't go deep is because we are so concerned with being popular and not profitable. But one thing I know beyond all else is that likes don't pay your bills. Clients do. Comments don't pay your bills. Customers do. A viral video. Y'all, I know a business owner who paid a company, like the whole objective of this company is to make a viral video for your business. They've done the scientific work of the equation of virality of a video. This is truth. There are companies who are charging $75,000 to have a viral video made on behalf of your business. And my first thought was, what the heck are you gonna sell on the back end to make that $75,000 back? Not even talk about building profitability. Now, if your objective is to be popular, then invest that $75,000 and you just hope that you find a way to make it back. I just could never sink I couldn't sink $2,000 in a viral video if I didn't push the needle forward. So if we know that, we have to then come to the realization that happy clients are the best form of organic growth on Instagram. Happy clients talk back to you. Happy clients send your posts to other people. Happy clients co-sign and leave testimonials in your comments itself. That's what's happening, and yet we have this kind of like weird idea around organic growth because it seems like it's elusive. That works for some people, but organic growth, Jasmine, you just have no idea. It doesn't work for me. Well, if you keep on saying it's not gonna work for you, your brain is hardwired to think it won't work for you. So the first thing you have to say is, organic growth is going to happen for me. It might not happen today, It might not happen tomorrow, but it's going to happen because that's going to be a major shift in how you think about growth across your platforms. So the first thing that I have decided when I had to make the decision to say, I don't give a rip. I just don't give a rip about it. I'm here to serve a small group of people. When I transitioned from being solely a wedding photographer into business strategy and social media marketing, I knew that I was going to lose a ton of followers because I felt that I wasn't good enough. I felt like I was not legitimate enough to keep people there with me as I transitioned. It wasn't until I had a mindset shift where I decided to tell myself, took the same amount of dang energy, my account no longer serves them. That's it. It's not about me. It's about them. There was a time where I was just posting my photography. I was just speaking to wedding photographers, and I was just posting about weddings. That account was one thing that served my audience a specific way. And then I made the decision to say, I'm changing direction, y'all. It had nothing to do with my ability to empower them. It had everything to do with the ability with my account not serving them in the same way. Every time you lose a follower, because it will happen, all you have to say is, my account no longer served them in the way that it was supposed to. I'm gonna bless and release. So the mindset shift has to come and say, I belong. I belong here. I belong in my vision. I belong in my calling. The minute you say organic growth is gonna happen because I belong and I'm here to serve a group of people, things change. So what you have to believe is not only do you belong, is that there's a seat at the table for you. I don't care what industry you're in. I don't care how small you say, I'm so tiny in this big industry and all the big dogs are closing me out. All these people are talking trash. All these people are stealing my ideas. No, nobody's taking anything from you. We don't own anything. The minute you put something out on the internet, it is no longer yours. So what do you have to say is, I belong at the table. I belong at a table in the White House and I belong at a table in the warehouse. I want to show up however I am because I belong there. The minute you say that, the way that you start attracting people on Instagram becomes a very different game. And if for some reason the door closes on you at a cocktail party where people turn their shoulders, because this has happened to me, gone to an event thinking I'm like trying to be cool, like okay, like I'm by myself, at this, it looks like I'm crying, I'm totally not. It was at this fashion bloggers event. Why I was there, listen, I go to events that are not in my industry, so I learned how other people in other industries are doing it, and then incorporated mine. I'm definitely not a fashion blogger. Y'all know I'm like up here hurting with a pair of jeans and a t-shirt. All I'm saying is I was there, we all went to the same events, we all heard the same speakers, everybody was all like kumbaya on Instagram, and then we go to this cocktail hour, and I walk up by myself to a circle, and I got straight shut out at the circle. That's rude. That's like rude, because you don't know who I am. You don't know if I have a billionaire daddy, which I don't. I wish I did. But I could have, and you straight shut me out of your circle. I see how you do. You don't want me at your table? I'm gonna build my own dang table. And at my table and at your table, you're gonna put chairs all the way around it. Everybody, any shape, any size, any gender, any color, you're here, because I'm here to serve you. You might not look like Elle, you might not sound like Elle, but I'm here for you. People cut you out, build your own dang thing. This is what social media has done. Anybody can clown on Justin Bieber. He got the game before anybody else did. No record labels were gonna give him the time of day, this little tiny kid who was playing drums on a bucket. And what did he do? Talk to people on Twitter. What did he do? Get millions of people to come to a radio station in the middle of nowhere to watch him do his music. He won the game because he built his table. Build your table. Second mindset that has to shift in how you build organic traffic, organic following, is that you have to believe that you make a difference. Because if you don't believe that empowering homeschool moms is making a difference, and if you don't believe that teaching other small business owners in physical locations makes a difference, and if you don't believe that helping Amazon sellers who aren't making any money then make money, then you've lost your center of gravity. When you say what I am doing, I don't care if it's as small as dog training, and sometimes it's a really big thing, right? I don't care if it's as little as a manicure, because for some people that is a big deal. You make a difference, and you have to believe that you do, because if you don't believe that, you're not gonna have anybody be attracted to the thing that you're doing. That you are creating an impact, big or small, in somebody's life. So when you wake up and you say, I belong in this industry, I'm here to make a difference, and when you wake up and you say, I am making a difference, I'm here to make an impact on somebody's life, that then changes why you're showing up on Instagram. And we started yesterday with saying, know your purpose and know who you're talking to. And yesterday, we started figuring out, who are you talking to? We kind of figured that out. Now that you know who you're talking to, now you know why you're there, you need to stand in it every single day. You need to remind yourself that you're gonna be doing something bigger and doing something different, because there's so much negativity around us, and the negative self-chatter in our own mind will talk us off a dang ledge. So every day you need to say, I don't care if 10 people unfollowed me today, I got a purpose, and the purpose is for me to speak my truth, to build a table and help other people. And the last mindset shift for us to be okay with how slow our Instagram accounts are growing is that you are enough. It is so easy to say that I am not small enough, young enough, pretty enough, beige enough, black enough, old enough. You could say all of that. Or it takes just the same amount of energy for you to say, I'm enough. I'm here as I'm created. I'm doing the best I can. And by doing the best I can and serving my people in authenticity, that's gotta be what it is. Because the thing that we see often is like people emulating each other on social media. But what if I were to say, just be you? Because the only thing that makes you different, I don't care if you think you're an amazing photographer, I don't care if you're an amazing graphic designer, there are other people who are better than you. Because better is subjective. What you think is perfect, what you think makes you the best killer photographer, somebody else will look at that and be like, that's just not my style, so you're not as good. And you're like, no, but I went to this school. I got this training. I got this degree. It doesn't matter. It's taste. And with taste, it's all subjective. So if we know that people can look at the stuff that we're producing and be, it's great, or in equal proportion, this is the best freaking thing I've ever seen, how do you then show up and differentiate yourself? Be you. And when people say that you are too much, when people just don't like what you do, say, you know where the digital door is. You followed my account. You can easily unfollow. You can block me. Don't let somebody else's opinions, your mom, your dad, your kids, your spouse, your best friends, tell you anything that you know deep in your gut is not true. Should you really be posting that? Aren't you embarrassed? Like, what are people saying about it? It doesn't matter. It's none of your business. You're not running my business. You're not speaking to my people. Don't let other people dictate how you feel about your growth, your business. Can I get an amen? Amen. Okay, so we're starting there. Now we're starting there. All right. I came in and I got a little hot under the collar because I was like, y'all be missing the point. So I'm gonna come in while woo-choo. Let's go. Okay, I don't know if you guys have a Latino dad, but my dad was like straight up Zorro. If he got upset at you, okay, so that belt will come off so fast, you're like, woo! So I did not pull out the belt, but I a little verbal lashing. Okay, in love. And JD said, Jasmine, he's like, you know, did you think that you were a little mean, a little rough around the edges yesterday? I was like, you know what? If I was, it's in love. So you all just have to know, I'm a little rough, I'm an Aries, I just say it how it is. But here's good news, you don't like me, at least you don't like me for 100% of me. Now, if you do like me, you like me for 100% of me. I'd like those odds. So the secret to growing on Instagram is trust the slow process. The slow process of showing up, offering value, and being you. What's the quickest way to grow on Instagram? Grow slow and be you. That's it.